I was almost unconsciously lucky there. I was among the few
Yes.
first guys to actually leverage Facebook. I
Yes.
remember that,
Yes.
where I translated my whole content to Facebook for free.
Yes.
And people thought I was crazy. I said,
Yeah.
Christian, you're going to give your slides, you're going to give your insights. Nobody's going to come to the course. And
Yeah.
I said, no, I think that people will never see everything and will be like, I want more. I'm going to come and see the guy,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it was a amazing moment because I took advantage of that early beginnings of Facebook, was able to spread the word. On my side, my biggest learning, this is when I realized that the best way to protect is to share.
And we're going to go farther into this journey behind marketing, which we're all trying to decode or figure out. And today we're going to be talking about a marketeer's journey with a brilliant human being that is now the CEO of DSD that we're going to learn more about. And Christian, I'll leave the introduction to you. I want you to tell us a little bit more about this amazing human being that we're going to be interviewing, and then the purpose of today and where we're going to go.
So the title is The Journey of a Marketeer in Dentistry. So specifically in dentistry, how can, somebody that has so much talent, so much ambition, so much capacity choose marketing in dentistry and succeed? So many questions about why dentistry, how to do marketing in dentistry, what are the challenges, how to do corporate marketing in dentistry, how to do marketing direct to consumer. This is actually the third part of our marketing series, right? We started just you and me, Kirk, talking about the purchase moment, the clock concept, why this became one of the main mantras of DSD and the main topic of DSD Residency 1 course, why we believe that this is the number one strategy to boost your practice growth, purchase moment, clock concept. That was the first episode. We had the last episode, the first episode with Brendon, where we summarized the revolution that AI is giving us in marketing as well, and how the world of marketing is a complete blank canvas, right? And everybody's lost altogether and inventing the future altogether with AI. And now the idea is that we're not going to talk about the clock concept. We're not going to talk about AI for marketing. I think it will be very interesting to understand a little bit of the career of a marketeer in dentistry. As I said before going live, Brendon and I started to work in 2013. I was starting the DSD company. We were their clients. He had an agency that we learned was focused 100% in dentistry. So that's going to be, of course, one of my first questions. Why you picked dentistry? Why only dentistry? To be honest, they became too expensive to us. At that time, DSD was still just me, my mom, my wife, and my brother in Brazil. So Brazilian money, and he was in UK pounds. It didn't match, it didn't matter how good he was. So we had to stop for a while, but then we reconnected. We said, Brendon, we are now in Spain, so it's euros. It's not Brazilian money anymore. So we have a little bit more cash. Can we start working together again? And then we started to become even more synergetic and speaking the same language and learning from each other. And we decided to just merge our companies. That's why DSD is a marketing agency today as well. That's a big part of what we do for big corporations in dentistry, supporting them with marketing strategies and content. We also support our clinics network with marketing strategies as well because of this merge. And we are all very excited that Brendon is going to lead this journey from now on. So Brendon, welcome.
Thank you.
Again.
Very kind introduction and words.
That's the truth.
Yeah, excited to be here. I think this conversation is very interesting, and I'm excited to share kind of the big insight of what the connection between my story, which, let's be honest, only I'm interested in. So I want to try and figure that out, and the people watching or listening to this podcast to try and understand what lessons you can use from my journey for yourself, because I do think there is some interesting insights, because it seems to have come all full circle, because I started in dentistry with a transition, a change that were happening, and that was basically Facebook and the internet. So that's when kind of I got into that industry, and so we're kind of at that moment again. So hopefully I can share kind of the elements that got me to the place where I'm at right now. So that'll be useful for everybody.
So why did your agency moved from a marketing agency into a marketing agency for dentistry? Why dentistry became your main business?
So there's two elements. One is that I started with my wife. My wife still works. We still work together. She's part of DSD.
Yeah.
And we started a business together based on the recession. So there was a publishing company that had a dental publishing title, which had paid subscribers. It was called Dental Products Report, I think it was. And basically, in the recession, the American company left the title. They left Europe, and the directors of that company all formed a company. And my wife was asked, she's a journalist, to be the editor of the dental magazine. And so I had just transitioned out of another business. I'd sold a previous business to myself. And so I was selling adverts to all the dental suppliers. So one-page adverts in print magazine. So that's where I started. And then that was the transition of online. So there was online publishers that were coming along. And so we created an ebook, and we published like an e-magazine, and that's what we did. That was going well. It wasn't going that well. We struggled a little bit. And then Facebook came around. Social media started to be this big thing, a little bit like AI was. It's the same sort of hype.
Similar sensation.
Yes. And so I was speaking to the dental suppliers, and they were saying, no, we don't want to advertise in your magazine, but do you know anyone who does this thing called Facebook? And this is the budget we have for Facebook. And I was like, wow, that's
nicer number.
It's much higher than what they were going to charge us. So I said, yeah, we can do that. And then put down the phone and did a course on Facebook social media management, and we started that way. And just so happens our first client was a dental business coach in the UK. And so it was very serendipitous in the sense that...
So you tell the client, yeah, we've been doing this for a while, and then you hang up and you say, God damn it, we have to learn this.
I've only done that once to start, just to be clear. So and that's the bit like AI is right now for all small business owners. There are no experts. And so everybody is at
That's the first lesson, by the way.
Yes.
No.
Right now, you don't have to you will feel overwhelmed, and you will feel that it's too much, the AI movement that's coming towards us. But the reality is everybody's in the same position. And if you're thinking about it, you're ahead of most of the people already.
So even by being worried about it, you're already a little bit ahead of the curve, right?
They reckon that maybe about 3% of individuals are actually aware and considering how AI is affecting their business. So, that they are aware of ChatGPT, what that is, the large language model. So I think you're ahead of the game right now, and there's first mover advantage, 100%. And so back when Facebook came along, we took that opportunity, and the dentists who were with us, they benefited hugely, because back in the day, all you had to do was do a post, and you used to get thousands of views, and it was like this incredible utopia of free
people didn't know
attention.
how to generate content at all, what it means to generate. So if you were taking a picture and saying something slightly interesting, a lot of people were already watching. I remember to by myself post and sell my courses all over the world. That was amazing.
A lot of the accounts and a lot of the influencers or the big names on social media, they started when it began, and they just happened to be in that movement where they got the large following, and they've leveraged it, and obviously
Yeah.
there's value in that, but they were there in the beginning and they jumped on that little piece of advantage.
I was
So,
almost unconsciously lucky there. I was among the few
Yes.
first guys to actually leverage Facebook. I
Yes.
remember that,
yes,
where I translated my whole content to Facebook for free.
Yes.
And people thought I was crazy. I said,
Yeah.
Christian, you're going to give your slides, you're going to give your insights. Nobody's going to come to the course. And
Yeah.
I said, no, I think that people will never see everything and will be like, I want more. I'm going to come and see the guy.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it was a amazing moment because I took advantage of that early beginnings of Facebook, was able to spread the word. On my side, my biggest learning, this is when I realized that the best way to protect is to share. Because you remember when DSD came out, I was not that well known, and a lot of people was taking over the idea, and copycats all over, and people saying, oh, I was doing this before, or I was blah, blah, blah. And I do better. It was PSD and TSD and WSD and all these things. And what was cool is that since I was sharing everything on Facebook, what happened is that the crowd started to point the finger to the copycats.
Yeah.
So the guy, I was lecturing in Mexico about DSD. The guy was learning, pretending was his idea, and lecturing in Russia about DSD.
Yeah.
But because we were sharing so much on Facebook, people were getting to know that this is from that crazy Brazilian. And people in the crowd were saying, you are lying. This is not your idea. And that's how copycats almost disappeared, because sharing fast was the best way to protect. Anyway, that was a parenthesis of the spread of Facebook, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I suppose the point of, if we jump to the end, I think, and then we can work backwards on what makes me say what I'm about to say. I think I'm really excited for the dental offices with the advent of AI, the artificial intelligence, because throughout my professional career, I've always had this idea of what dentists needed to do on the marketing sense. So I always had this great strategy, had this great idea, but the reality, and if we're truthfully speaking, was the business model didn't match the marketing strategy. It just didn't make sense. The dentist would understand saying, this is a great idea, and I can see the sense in what you're telling us to do. And I'm even willing to pay you a monthly retainer to see if it works. But the reality is that the business, a dental business, the model's not big enough to sustain the necessary momentum that is needed to get the benefit from the marketing. So the good news is that was always my challenge, and that was always my
frustration.
Yeah, because it was the business owner, the dental clinic owner wanted to do the marketing. They're even willing to invest in it. We had the tools, but they just didn't have enough budget to do the right amount of effort so that they could get that.
Marketing is not a medicine. Marketing is food.
And the problem is, so we always said,
little every day, feeding.
We always said
it's not like a magical medicine.
Right.
And people treat marketing as a medicine. I'm going to pay. I don't care even paying a lot right now. I take this and I want a solution.
Yes. And the reality is that they were just not feeding. They couldn't buy enough food from the agency. And so
subsidize the long-term
because
process.
They were outsourcing, and their business, they dentists do make good money, but there's a lot going out, and they only have a small percentage that they can allocate to their marketing budget in order to be sustainable. So the good news is now with AI and the right systems and processes, 100% you can do everything
that is
needed to benefit. And that's what I'm really excited about. And so I can say that with complete authority because the moment we're in right now is that no longer do we have to eat the fish, we can actually build the net. And so this is the problem that most dental offices have, is that they were just catching fish and eating the fish.
They were paying fish by fish.
They're paying fish by fish, which is tactics, the marketing tactics. Whereas the net that you can build is the brand and the culture and the trust develop. We talk about this becoming the most trusted voice in your space. Now, that's a great idea. But the implementation, the practical execution to get to the most trusted voice is what, Kirk, you're doing on your podcast, is the consistency of the content, the ongoing sharing useful, valuable information, answering questions.
I want you to repeat and emphasize this that you explained last session. The number one goal of modern marketing should be for you to become the most trusted voice in your space, in your area, about the topics that you want to be trusted. Be the most trusted voice on your space. That is the number one goal, because if social media was already inundating us with excess of information and content, AI will multiply this by 1 million. So the volume of things of content, people explaining why my teeth are bleeding was already, without social media, who had the answer? You needed to call a friend that was a dentist. Social media allowed people to Google it or not, Google it. That was the first
referrals.
Now, not only you can Google a few explanations about it, but every dentist in the world can post something powered by AI about why teeth are bleeding. So suddenly you have billions of posts and content explaining that little reason. So the key is, how can you become the most trusted voice in this ocean of things and people saying the same thing? Right?
So I think there's several ways, and they're not that hard anymore. That's what I want everybody to take away from this, and that's the exciting position we're all in as small business owners, as dental clinic owners, is that it is completely possible now to do it on your own, to insource your marketing. That's my new message, and that's the new thing I believe truly down, is that you no longer have to outsource your marketing efforts, and that's the key for me, and that's the exciting piece.
I don't know if you agree. Insourcing your marketing, even before AI, was already the most powerful thing or the most efficient thing to do with marketing. It was financially not feasible for the huge majority, but if you see the doctors that are really killing it on marketing, they have a mini agency inside their practice.
They normally have one person dedicated 100%.
At least one person. They have a videographer. They have a schedule every week. They know how to generate content in a bunch so they can spread through 6 months. They have a system.
So I think that's the minimum right now. I think if there's one thing that you need to know, is that in order to insource your marketing, you need to have full-time content manager. So that's someone who takes control of the content creation, the writing, the social media updates, interviewing your subject matter experts,
your patients.
You as the owner or the manager or the dentist cannot be doing that, and you shouldn't be bothered with that. And that's why you pay that individual what you need to pay them, the full-time salary. Now
this individual needs to really be excited about learning about AI, right?
Yes, they need to be able to leverage it, because then it's going to make them much more effective. They're going to produce much more content, and they can keep the quality, because, as we mentioned, as the ease of creating content becomes a lot easier, because the reality is more and more people are going to learn, write me a blog post about smile makeovers, write me a blog post about the cost of dental implants, and then the machine is going to produce blogs, and maybe I can do one a day, very, very easily, very quickly. The reality is the quality won't be that great. And you
need to put your taste, your beliefs, you
exactly.
need to put your
and
twist.
There's ways that you can do that, and you can teach the AI models to speak in your voice and your tone. So it's just a matter of understanding what's possible. But I think the reality is that if you had a choice, you would focus on the quality. So you do the quality. But obviously, if you can do the quality with the quantity, then you're leaps ahead of the competition. And I think we have about 12 to 18 months of first move advantage, especially in the dental industry. Because what I see is when I'm talking about it, people they're completely overwhelmed and then find reasons not to do it. So they don't want to embrace it for bigger questions and bigger reasons, but you have to be pragmatic and realistic. And I think we can't solve the bigger existential question, which there is.
Right.
But in the meantime, in my dental clinic, I need to get somebody who can leverage and take advantage of it while there is still the first move advantage.
I remember when we used to lecture together, and we did lecture together a few times, you were talking about the main mistakes that dentists usually do regarding marketing or on the process of choosing their marketing agency, because marketing agencies are almost like lawyers. Everybody always complains about them, right?
100%. Yeah.
We hate, people usually hate lawyers, and they hate marketeers because they always feel like they're paying too much and not getting the results.
Yeah.
And you are always lecturing about the main mistakes that we do that creates that sensation, and how should you choose your marketing agency. Maybe now how you should choose and train the person that is going to do your marketing.
I think we all can experience this, or we might have an understanding of this, is what normally happens is, because you have a problem, you go search for a provider. The provider presents a solution. And then in your head, you mentally tick that off and you move on.
Yeah.
And the reality
I bought the solution.
I bought the solution. All my problems have gone away. And the reality is that the work has just begun. You know, it's one of those, it's a joint venture, it's a partnership. And then the challenge is that the parties start to kind of point fingers to each other, saying, hey, we need this information from you. And you're saying, well, I'm paying you. Why should I do extra work? You should know this. And so we get into this balance, and it's a cycle that is constant, right?
But this is also related to what you said. Marketing should be food, not a medicine.
Yes.
Usually people reach to marketing when they are feeling a problem, right?
Yes.
Say, oh my God, things are not as easy as it used to. I'm not getting as much patients as I used to. I'm getting, my word of mouth is not good as it used to, or new practices with younger people are opening down the road. I feel the pressure, I feel the competition, DSOs, cool new practices with new architecture and new technology, blah, blah, blah. I need new patients. I have a problem. When we should say, I don't have a problem. I'm already doing very good. Let me find a marketing strategy to continue not having a problem long term.
It's actually a very good point. I had a conversation with a doctor on the weekend, and that was the exact conversation I had. He's like, I've never needed marketing. I am doing extremely well. We've been in business over 50 years. Word of mouth is strong. I'm so busy that I don't even want to think about adding more people. And I said to him, this is the time you need to double down and find
100%
different strategies, different sources of patients, because you have the flexibility, you have the bandwidth and the cash flow.
The source,
Yes, to
have
be able to deal with it, because when the cash flow is tight, then it's a vicious cycle, because then you can't try, there's too much pressure on a situation, you don't give enough time for it to play out. And so you stop things before they get started. And so for anybody listening, I think if things are going really well, then I encourage you to double down on understanding how to insource your marketing and how to leverage the artificial intelligence, because now is your opportunity, because you're best placed, because you have the bandwidth.
And worst case scenario, you're creating a strategy to become more known and to become the voice of trust on that topic.
You actually have more space. You don't have as much pressure. And we know what it's like when you don't really force things, they come naturally.
Let's go back to the journey, because we're going to freeze this moment in time. You guys got together in 2013. This is a very peculiar time in history. And you said in the last one, AI is going to change our life bigger than the internet, bigger than anything we know. And so we're at this very interesting intersection that we're going to be talking about in your journey. You know, I love what you said, insourcing marketing, AI, and then the trust component. And I believe trust will plummet in the world for consumers. I picture this highway and there's 9 lanes across and there's just a few cars on it. In another year, every lane will be full. and you're only going to take the intersections or the exits to, I trust this exit. I know it's on this exit. I know these people. And so tell us what this is going to look like in the future and why this is a great opportunity for dentists to double down on what you just said.
It goes down to the core of, as we said in the last podcast, the main currency of any business is trust, right? The ability to earn trust. I earn enough trust from you to give me your hard-earned money to do your service, right? And so in a digital world, we need to have signals and entities and environments that demonstrate and earn this trust without having met us in person, because obviously it's easier for most dentists to earn the trust of the patient, but to get their attention, first of all, is a big thing. To then keep their attention and earn their trust, to get them to walk through the door, there's many obstacles and hurdles to clear. And so it comes down to just answering the questions that everybody has. They're very basic questions, you know, the 5 topics that every prospective patient has that almost no dentists talk about online. That's the way you're going to get someone's attention, because when we're searching for information online, Kirk, what happens when you get to a website and you can't find the information quickly? You know, what's the F word of the internet? I always call it the F word of the internet. It's frustration, right? You get frustrated, and what do you think? Oh no, this is a value-based business. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fill in the contact form. I'm going to wait for them to email me back. I'm going to call them, and I'm going to let them explain to me all the things that I want to understand. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to jump to the next place as within a few seconds. And so that's what we have to do. We have to develop that environment by just, and it's a very simple marketing strategy. Just answer the questions. I wish it was more complicated than that, but you have to talk about the topics that no one wants to talk about.
I think that this is going to become a much more common discussion. How can you gain people's trust, right? There was an old way 100 years ago of gaining trust. There was a traditional marketing way of gaining trust. There was an internet marketing way of gaining trust. There was a social media way of gaining trust. You see that the strategies of gaining people's trust has been changing century after century, decade, and now year after year, changing. And that was always a very big topic for me. Initially more focused on the case acceptance topic, right? Talking to the patient, doing the clinical examination, presenting the treatment plan. How can you gain trust when you're presenting the plan? Because at the end of the day, people will say yes if they feel that comfort of trust, right? That beautiful, cozy feeling. Trust gives you coziness, you know? It's like you said on the highway. You're desperate, and then you see an exit that you know. What do you feel? You feel that cozy feeling. You say, I know this turn. There's a tree at the top of the hill. There's a little house on the right side, and I know this path, and I feel at home. I can trust this exit, right? I can trust this doctor. I can trust this post. I can trust this podcast. I can trust this blog. Should I trust this blog? You know, there's 100 people saying the same thing. Why should I trust this person, not the other person? You said one thing that you think it's a big trend, that is transparency, absolute transparency. People are sick of BS, right? And tired of persuasion and tricky strategies to gain you. And suddenly I think that in this world of access of information, transparency, hopefully our politicians will learn that. Transparency and being pragmatic and straight to the point will become a huge value, right?
Yeah, it has huge value, because it's very hard to find truthful reviews, truthful information about the considered purchase that I'm having, because everyone has a vested interest. Everyone has a horse in the race, right? So you always, when you're reading something, you're trying to understand how much of it is weighted towards the provider and how much is actually useful, truthful information, you know? So that's the challenge that's what we have to do. And so to go to Kirk's point, to earn the trust, you just have to talk about things that no one else wants to talk about. You have to show things that no one else wants to show, and you have to sell like no one else wants to sell. And that's how you earn trust.
Like
right?
admitting, I'm here to sell you, to convince you, admitting that and being straight to the point. So the other thing you said is, it's not only being transparent, but saying exactly what people want to know, not having a strategy behind. Like in the past, say, no, let's not mention the price right now, so people will be curious and enter a funnel, and then they're gonna ask a second question, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna twist everything around upside down because I'm scared to tell my price. Because
let's put it this way. Question to the audience or to Kirk: how many dental websites have you come across that have a pricing page or talk about their competitors?
None.
And how many of your prospective patients want to know those two things? How you compare to your competitors and what your prices are. So think about it. You have all these individuals who are trying to understand who they can trust. Two key things. There's three other topics, but we'll focus on that one. How much will it cost me to get this dream smile or this treatment done with you? Oh, it's very complicated. Depends. You need to come in, and it's because it's biology. It's impossible for me to tell, and and I don't want to scare you away. So I want to make sure that you're in my office. I can convince you that I'm the right person. That's not going to interest, right?
Yeah, so, that's a podcast in itself, and you're freaking me out already. So like that's going to take some convincing on its own for the dentists, at least in the United States. So I want to.
What's the most searched for term on the internet in the dental industry? What would you guess is the most searched for phrase in Google at the moment in the dental as a patient? If you had to guess, what would you think it would be?
I think you mentioned it. How much is an implant? Is that what it was? Yes. Or how
much does a dental implant cost?
Yeah, and you mentioned that. And I thought that was very peculiar.
You need to understand why, because no one talks about it.
Well, tell us why. You have to tell us why.
No, because no one talks about it. No dentist gives the clear answer. And they have a justified reason, because they say, listen, everybody's different. We don't know what's going on in your mouth. We cannot give you a cost because we have no idea. Right. But the reality is that me as a prospective patient, I can afford to have this treatment, but I do want to know the range. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to go down this path where I'm in front of you and you tell me a price that if I'd realized I wouldn't have gone down this route. And then you burn any opportunity in the future because I'm too embarrassed to come back to you because I was like,
even if I make the money in the future.
Exactly. So it might be, I'm going to save this money and then I'm going to come to you in 2 years' time, which happens with DSD treatments. But if you don't open that environment, the person's in front of you, it's a super awkward interaction.
You're reducing drastically anxiety and keeping the channel.
And they're never going to come back to you because they're too embarrassed. They're like, oh my gosh, I never replied. I never responded. I'm just going to go to someone else.
We can easily defend the dentist and say, look, every treatment is customized, blah, blah, blah. But it's very easy for you to take a few examples. Say, look, I don't know exactly how much your treatment will cost because there's some variables. I can give you a range, but what I can say, and I already have on my website, check this case from A to Z. This lady, Mary, came to us with this problem. We did 6 implants, a full implant arch on the top, some composite extractions on the lower, plus a bridge, and her treatment costs exactly this. Boom. Yeah. You solve the problem.
Yeah, I think you can talk about the variables that add cost. You don't have to talk about the exact treatments, so that when you are speaking to your patient about all the elements that you have, your website has already spoken about that. If you have this, it's X. If you had this, this is the range. So they have an understanding. So it's not a big shock. Because they're like, oh, your mouth means you need these 3 variables. As you know, these variables add cost.
But you know that one of the reasons why aligners became a revolution in dentistry is this. Yeah. Because suddenly the ortho had a very clear range that was actually promoted by the company. Companies that this treatment costs from here to there. And everybody suddenly felt comfortable. When I have this money, I'm going to do it. And there's no embarrassment. There's no anxiety. There's no barrier. I have the information and it's on my priority list,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I want to know more about the story, like the journey. You guys got together in 2013. You solidified it. Well, congratulations, Brendon. You are now the CEO. Why is this a great decision for you, Christian? And why is this a great decision for you, Brendon? And where do the two of you go together to serve dentistry?
So I'll go first, and then you can.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to go back to the story, I was.
It wasn't a good decision for him. Maybe.
Right.
He's gonna try to be nice now.
We'll have a follow-up episode on that one.
Back to before I was working with DSD, I was a dental marketing agency who became specialized in helping dental offices with their dental marketing, mainly social media and writing blog posts. That's kind of what the core of our business was. And then as things evolved, if we go back to what I said, people were buying fish from us. We were doing tactics. We were doing marketing tactics. And we as an agency, or me as a business owner, I understood that there's something missing here, because I'm just giving them a tactics and I can't guarantee the net. All I can guarantee is the next fish. And that's not a good relationship for them or for myself. I then was fortunate enough to be introduced by one of a dentist who had seen Christian and his partner at the time talk about the concept. And they said, you need to meet Christian. And when I remember very distinctly, I was sitting in the lecture and he was talking about what he calls the purchase moment. Basically, this is a short version of the story. And it really clicked.
The emotional
with me,
game.
The emotional game. So Christian has this concept called the emotional game, where you are earning positive credits or you're losing credit. You get negative credits. So green up, red down. And he was saying every interaction, which is what brand building is, right? Brand building is not logo, it's not marketing. It's every experience that your patient has with your business. You build a brand around it. And this was something that I'd always spoken to the dentists about, was saying, listen, I can get the people to the website, to the door, but if you mess up or you're not 100% or it's not aligned, the experience, then you're not going to get the results and you're going to blame me. And so when Christian was talking about that, I was like, I need to work with Christian because he has dentists who now will have the right purchase moment, right? And that was the trust element. So we wanted to have a continuous, uninterrupted journey of experience. And I knew that I needed to align with DSD because those dentists were one level above the other dentists, because they understood that actually the biggest return of investment is to master the purchase moment, because word of mouth is the best type of marketing. And there's no better way to have a really good purchase moment and post-purchase moments that ensure that word of mouth would then drive the big wheel that everybody talks about. So that is the reason why I joined, and it made sense to me. And then I saw the community. I saw how trust was the biggest part of that journey, right? This, because Christian at that time, and still to this day, he shares a lot of stuff where everybody's like, you should charge for that. You should not hold that back. You should do. And I saw how the community valued that. And I wanted to be part of that movement. And that's kind of why I joined forces, why I sold my agency to DSD. Wasn't because of the money or which was a great opportunity and it was a good, it was good. But it was actually being part of something bigger, because I feel with DSD, it is a big movement that will change things. And I saw my opportunity to be part of something bigger than just marketing, so that's why I joined, and I'm happy.
That's the good version of the story, the good side.
And Christian, why was this a great decision for you?
For me, it was very clear and very straightforward. Of course, I always loved communication. I loved spreading the word, my ideas, the things I believe, the things that I learned, concepts and workflows, and as I was traveling in the world and meeting people one by one, I saw that people were enjoying the message, right? But I wanted to scale this. I want to say, how can I reach more people? I'm not going to be traveling all over the world every week of my life. I was crazy during some years, traveling, 250 days per year. And doing this one-on-one marketing, let's say, without knowing it was marketing, doing this one-on-one communication and creating this following and etc. So I realized that I needed to scale. I needed to expand, not commercially, not financially, but the ideas. I wanted more people to listen to the ideas because I saw that people were happy listening to it. So I realized that I needed to be side by side with marketing. And I realized I needed two things. I needed strategies and I needed content. And I'm not saying that I had everything clear in my mind and I went to him because I wanted this, but I see that unconsciously I knew I needed. And when I met him and his wife, I realized they had it, because I don't know if it's strategy and content is basically strategy plus copywriting, right? And Brendon is one of the best guys when it comes to strategy, one of the smartest guys, looking out for strategies, filtering, curating, polishing, adapting, and implementing smart strategies, always looking outside and understanding what is going on and always being one step ahead, bringing new ideas when it comes to marketing strategies. That's what he does. And his wife is one of the best copywriters I know. So it couldn't be better, right? I have the stories in my mind. I have the ideas. People seem to like to hear to me. And now I have this amazing strategist and this amazing copywriter all together. Let's try. Let's see where we can go.
Yeah. So you mentioned you have a great 3-year plan. The journey continues forward.
Yeah.
Give us a glimpse of this journey together and what the road looks like ahead.
The DSD journey?
The 3-year
Together,
plan.
philosophically, strategy. If I'm a dentist listening, how can I be part of this? What can I expect from the two of you on the road ahead?
Brendon will be the one sharing this, if he can share. Maybe we can share.
No, 100%.
Yeah, there's 3 pillars. There's basically 3 pillars, 3 paths, right?
Yeah, and they evolve around the message I'm telling dentists to do. Actually, at DSD, we're gonna do exactly what we are telling our clients and the dentists to do. We are going to help dentists insource, basically, and build brand, and that's what we're going to do. We are going to provide the services or lean into what we're best known for, which is
coaching, mentoring, guiding.
Yes.
So focusing on the process much more than trying to find the one simple mainstream product that can be sold to any dentist in the world. We always had that debate. Can we become the Invisalign of smile design? Do we want to become an Invisalign of smile design, right? Do we want to dumb down the process of facially driven smile design, facially driven treatment planning powered by digital? Do we want to simplify this into something that every dentist can purchase? Is there something we can do about it? And we decided that even though it's very tempting, that's not who we are. That's not our DNA. Our beliefs in terms of dentistry is holistic care, is relationships, is comprehensive approach, is really being ahead of the curve, being the best in town. How can a dentist become the 3-star Michelin dentist in his city? That's the goal. And so we decided that we don't want to waste time, even though it's very tempting to find those simple products that can go mainstream, and to focus on this ideal dentistry. But the problem with ideal dentistry is that it's very hard to scale. It's very hard to implement. So then our conclusion is, let's do what we do the best. And when we are doing this, that's when people love the best what we are doing. And that's when we are teaching people to implement these ideas, more than having a solution, a recurring solution of a product that people can buy over and over again every week. Is how do you learn these concepts, bring them together, and implement? So it's basically admitting that we are a coaching company on how to succeed with comprehensive digital care.
Love it.
I think the vision of DSD is creating heroes, growing businesses, and changing lives. And basically, that's what we know how to do.
Mhm.
We know how to teach you how to become the hero of your story.
Mhm.
And
As a
change
dentist.
lives as a dentist, and make your patients heroes. And that's kind of, we want to lean into that theme.
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
pillars are built around that.
Mhm.
One of the pillars is going to be around
Mhm.
platform and technology, because we need to leverage that. But mainly the core of that is just becoming the trusted advisors.
That's
for our
pillar one.
clients. Yeah. Yeah.
Brendon is trying to hide pillar 2 and pillar 3.
Okay, well, you can tell us what you want, but I have pillar 1 is help dentists in-source and build a brand. Pillar 2 is technology, the utilization of technology. And then share with us, if you want, pillar 3.
No, actually, all of this is pillar 1. Pillar 1 is really becoming this coaching,
Trusted advisor.
a trusted
trusted
advisor
Yeah.
on how to bring all these ideas into reality, right? Regardless if you're gonna use us recurring services afterwards for every single case, every single design, every single plan, the main thing is to use us to help you implement these ideas, right? To become your new reality.
To empower the 3 Ps,
Yeah.
because we do have the model
Yeah.
to empower the 3 Ps, which is the pride, passion, and performance.
Yeah.
Because if you execute on what Christian developed, definitely you have more space and more time to do the dentistry that
Mhm.
that you love.
Mhm.
I think that's the key here.
Mhm.
So that's, we want to be that empowering force.
Pillar 2, I can tell you, is very simple. Pillar 2 is to focus on our relationship with companies that was never our main goal, but it naturally happened. And we have amazing success stories with very big companies, very tough companies to please. And these companies are with us and they want to continue with us. So we are professionalizing the process of also coaching companies on branding and go-to-market strategies and product development, and link everything with education, communication, storytelling, and R&D. And so we see the product from all different perspectives. And I think that through the last 10 years, we were able to develop all different perspectives of a successful launch, of a successful service, of a successful product. And companies are enjoying consulting with us on that. So that for us is a second pillar of the next 3 years, on making this even more professional and officializing that this is something that we do very well, that we're very proud, And the third pillar, Brendon mentioned superficially, is that we want to leverage AI.
Like everybody else.
Like everybody
Right.
else, we're not going to only preach that, we're going to do it. And developing a platform powered by AI that can help dentists and technicians to work better together. So it's something that has been on our minds for many, many years. And we believe that now AI is mature enough to allow us to do something very special about it.
Love
the
it.
barrier to entry is much lower now, because it's all open and stuff. So before, you had to have a lot of money to even think about playing in this area, but right now the barrier to entry is feasible for us to start the process.
Well, I want to continue this conversation. I have so many questions that we could easily go on for 2 or 3 more hours. But on this particular topic, let's wrap this one up and give us some final thoughts on a marketeer's journey, what's ahead, and what I can expect. And then I also want you to tell people a little bit more about DSD and where I can go to learn more about that.
We talked too much about DSD already. People will think that we do this podcast to promote DSD. That's not true.
That is not true.
To share.
And I will tell you, as a marketer myself, I love learning, and I always leave space for people that want, it's a soft promotion of what they're doing. So I never just want to take from them. I want them.
I always take the opportunity to promote what I do. Don't worry.
Right.
If you give me the gap, I will jump in. No problem.
Deal.
Final thoughts. I will give some seconds for Brendon. So I will start. I think that one of the main messages here is how can you become a master on making people trust you, on personal relationships, friendship, family, even with your team, with your staff. How can you make people trust you even more, or maybe faster? How can you make people jump on board, or how can you make people follow your idea, or how can you make people be convinced by you, or trust your insight, or give up on their dreams, or make your dream their dream because they trust you, adapt their dream, or create a dream together because they trust you. This is an amazing topic, how to generate trust. And Brendon mentioned from the marketing perspective, a couple of strategies to stand out by making people see that trusted message, right? That trusted voice. If it's your body language, if it's the way you use your words, not sounding too commercial or too pushy, or too arrogant or too confident or too humble or too weak or too average or too normal, or how can you become more interesting because you sound trustable, right? And from all the strategies, and we can further develop this, it's a topic that I'm learning and I love to learn because I think it's the shortcut for success in the AI world. Is definitely the shortcut to success, right? Because people will not trust the things that they used to trust because of AI, period, right? If you would see a video on WhatsApp, you will not trust that video anymore. If you used to, a message, or a TV channel, or a politician, or somebody that's saying, but this time I'm telling you the truth, you don't even know if the video is real, right? So it's just like trust is going to become the most precious thing, so everything that you can learn about generating trust is going to be extremely precious and something really valuable to learn. And from my simple perspective, just as the final conclusion here, one of the things that I think is very powerful to generate trust, that I always share, is to express passion, true passion. It's not that it's easy to demonstrate true passion, because you can sound fake, you can sound arrogant, there's many mistakes that you can incur when trying to express passion. But because this happens naturally when you're really passionate, and when you practice your speech with passion, people immediately usually trust you, because the brain works very simple. They see you demonstrating or explaining something with passion, or talking about dentistry with passion, talking about the reason why you do dentistry with passion, and people listen to you and they say, I don't even understand what he's saying, but I can see that he's very passionate about it. That probably means that he does that a lot because he loves it. And if he does it a lot, he probably does it very well. And if he does it very well, I probably should trust him. So maybe that's a good way to start when you start generating content, or when you're starting to fine-tune the content that AI is giving to you. That is the one thing that AI cannot give you. Passion, zero. AI will give you great content with zero passion. So you need to master the process of putting your touch and translating it into your passion, with your passion.
Love it. Love it. Brendon.
Just to build on Christian's points, I think my journey and my story is evidence that brand building is the right activity. I was in the process of tactics. We were doing marketing tactics, and the moment I joined with DSD, it became about building brand, and it's got me to where I am today, which I'm super grateful for. I stopped focusing on tactical implementation of my career to more brand building around my career. And I think for people listening, that's what you need to focus on. You need to focus on starting to think about building your brand and the brand building activities. And my suggestion is to start with the purchase moment, because that is the nexus. It is the point where everything can start. And there's one skill that you will need, and that's what served me and where I've got to, is this beginner's mind, this idea of being obsessed with learning. Because I do think with the advent of the technology wave that's coming our way and everything that's changing, you need to have an ability to learn quickly. And I think if you can master that skill, you have a skill that will take you as far as you need to go. And then finally, to build your brand in your dental office, just be obsessed with the questions that your patients are asking. Just start there. It's not complicated. It's very simple. Every question you hear, let me answer it. And then you go from there, and it will take you places that you'll be surprised.
Love it. Love it. So if I'm listening to this podcast or watching it, and I want to know more about DSD, where do I go? Where do I start? Brendon, I want to go to your course. Like, Christian, I've seen your courses. They're amazing. I also want to learn from you, Brendon. What do I do? Where do I go?
Well, the first place, hopefully, is to go to our website, digitalsmiledesign.com, and hopefully it'll be clear where to go. There is a video from this lovely gentleman where he gives you a crash course on how to get started, how to navigate the website. So I would start there.
I really appreciate you. And as always, I learned so much, and it's going to be so exciting to see what you guys do on the road ahead.